Alright guys, I'm here with another video. I'm going to list my top 22 cards printed during the year of 2022. And the first one is the finality or the finishing of the Triome lands, cycling lands that has basic land types. And they were printed in New Capenna and are played in about 30% of decks because they're pretty awesome. And priced around 10 euros, so still sort of affordable, but I think these will move towards more of a Ikoria premium sort of deal, and yeah, pick your Triumphs up now, guys. Number 21 is Archivist of Oghma. 2/2 for 2 with flash, relevant creature type in Cleric and Halfling, and draws your card advantage in a white. It needs your opponent to search your library, and with all the fetch land and cultivate and all that kind of stuff, you will draw cards with this guy. You just absolutely will. It's played in about 9% of decks on EDH Rec, price is around 10 euros, and this guy will only go up in price. I doubt this guy will move down anytime soon. It's a fantastic card, although pretty boring, but yeah, it's a super strong card. And at 10 euros, I think this is on par with stuff like Guardian maybe not Guardian Project, but it's for sure a super strong card. At number 20, we have Jaheira. Jaheira? Yeah, Friend of the Forest. A legendary elf, druid, human, so relevant creature types. She synergizes super well with treasure tokens, making them produce green mana and you don't have to sacrifice them, making this a ramp piece. She is currently sitting at number 2043 as a commander and ran in 4% of decks and costs about €1.50. She is a very strong card and fits a lot of decks, and yeah, this one was for sure a interesting addition in 2022. Next up we have Giada, Font of Hope, 2 mana 2/2 Flying Vigilance Angel, and I guess the new face of Angels, the new go-to commander for Angel Tribal, a fairly strong tribal, and she really pushes it a lot by ramping each game turn 2, assuming you have 2 lands, then you for sure should keep a hand with 2 lands. She synergizes well with counters, so she will buff your already pretty strong angels even further. And she is currently sitting at number 60, so top 100 out of all commanders used on EDH Rec, and ran in 1% overall on Index. She is currently sitting at about 2 euros, so she's still affordable, still a great card, and for sure will be a hard one to replace as a commander for Angel Tribal. And the art is pretty awesome as well, and from a set I really enjoyed in New Capenna. Next up we have Arcane Bombardment, an enchantment for 6 in red that makes a lot of sense to use in basically any Spellslinger deck. So I'm looking at Grixis, I'm looking at Jeskai, I'm looking at Izzet, I'm looking at maybe even Rakdos Spellslinger sort of decks. So what it does is you get to at random take an instant or sorcery from your graveyard and exile it under bombardment, and each time you cast a new spell you will get the spell you cast, the spell you have exiled, and on top of it getting a new card or new instant sorcery exiled under Arcane Bombardment. And yeah, this one finishes games. This one will end the game. Keep this around for at least, if you untap with this, most likely the game will be over. It's just win with your Spellslinger decks. No more like durdling, no more getting stuck on no juice. This one will juice you up, man. This one is the juice. Run this in your Spellslinger decks. It's only ran in 2% of decks at about 2.5 to 3 euros. Yeah, this is a fun card. It will end games. Next up we have Luxior, Giada's Gift, an equipment for 1 that gets a creature +1/+1 for each counter it has on it. So shield counters, experience counters, and whatever counters you can put on your creatures. You can also, for one, equip it to a planeswalker, turning it into a creature. And yeah, you can still activate abilities or loyalty abilities, growing it and stuff. It's a super interesting card. You can do a lot of bullshit with this guy, and I think this one will be broken eventually pretty badly. Currently in 1% of decks at about 5.5 to 6 euros. It's just begging to be broken in some way, and I've not looked into it a lot, but there are things with Gideon that makes it pretty hard to lose the game. With this one on an indestructible creature, it's just insane. Next up we have Legion's Loyalty. At 8 mana, enchantment that gives all your creatures myriad. So it is expensive, it is 8 mana, but you get a bit of value from it, actually a lot of value. Take stuff like extra combat, you'd have stuff like Grey Merchant of Asphodel Gary, that's on ETB with only Gary, it's 24, it's 3 times 2, 4, 6, 8. So it's 24 damage each from each of the Garys. So that's 8 damage each from all the Garys, and that's 24 damage, and you're gaining 3 times that, so that's like 72, I guess. Yeah, so you gain 72, deal 24 each combat as long as Gary stays around. Yeah, this card is a bam. It's a bomb. It's a game ender. I like this card a lot. It's only in about 2% of decks at 4 euros. So yeah, buy this, run this, have some fun, guys. Works with tokens, everything. So everything with legendary will die, but yeah, doesn't matter. Still have value. Next up we have Jolene, the Plunder Queen. It's a 2/2 for 4 in Gruul. That's treasure generator, treasure doubler, and can grow herself pretty big. So you get treasures, or everyone gets treasures for attacking, so you kind of incentivize not to attack you. So that's a nice bonus. And if you would create a treasure token, you get 2 instead. So that's an additional token. And she is ran in 3% of decks. And as a commander, she is number 421, very close. And at price around €2, 2.5 euros, I think this is a fantastic card that I wouldn't say New Capenna was the start of the treasure meta in EDH, but she definitely found a spot in the current treasure meta that is just fantastic. I have one more treasure generator in this list, and only reason the other one is higher is because it is monocolored. But yeah, this card I would run in basically all Combat Matters decks. Maybe the new monkey from the Jumpstart 2022, I guess, that creates banana tokens and grows all your monkeys. She could actually find a spot there as well to make your monkeys even more humongous. Yeah, this is a fantastic card. Pick this girl up. She is a beast. Warrior and human also, so she has relevant creature types on top of being a great creature. I say this is a home run. Next up, we have a card that is not as splashy as the others. It's a ramp piece. It's Relic of Legends. It's a 3-mana Monarch that also turn all your legendary creatures into Monarchs. It's in 3% of decks, and it's just slightly below €1. And I think this card will be a very expensive uncommon foil in the future. This one will for sure climb in value because, yeah, legendary creatures, there's so many good legendary creatures, and just basically this is the cutoff point where I'd say run a 3-mana ramp piece over 2-mana ramp piece. It's basically when it's something like this, something like like has this amount of value, I'd say yes, sure, you can run this. But generally you want to keep your ramp pieces at 2 CMC. But yeah, this one is just insane. Next up we have a monkey or ape shaman in Silverback Elder. Ran in 3% of EDH rec decks and priced at around 6.3, 6.2 euros. It's not super splashy, but it is basically an upgraded version of Aura Shards, and that card is insane. So you get life, you can take lands from top of your library to ramp. I'm sure why would you do that, but the main part is destroying artifacts and enchantments on cost. So even if you get your creatures countered, even if he gets destroyed in response, you still get at least one trigger from it. So I say this guy is fantastic art, reasonably statted. 5/7 for 5 is fine. Should, like with Trample, this would be a like golden pick, but for sure this guy is included in a lot of decks, but on the more expensive side of stuff, yeah. Next up we have Life Insurance. 5 mana enchantment in Orzhov that has Extort, and whenever non-token creature dies, you lose 1 life and you get a treasure token. So you are basically killing yourself slowly, but with the Extort it's fairly easy to keep yourself alive. That means like every 3 creatures you will have to pay an extra black or white to Extort, assuming you have 3 opponents. And at that rate, I think you are in a pretty damn good spot. So normally when you associate treasures, it's either Rakdos, or it's maybe with Jolene, a Gruul part, or maybe Yund is the optimal bit. But I think this one is nice for your like life gain aristocrat sort of decks in Orzhov. Also goes in like Mardu, and yeah, it's fantastic in like a Gave deck, going with the Sapperling tribal stuff. I think this one is for sure a card to look out for in the future. It's in 3% of decks and it's priced around 1.5 euros, so it's still cheap, and I actually picked up the playset just because I like the card so much. Next up we have a card that I like that's not super great, but as a 1-drop in white, I think it's a fair card. As a commander, it's pretty bad, but it has partners, so yeah. Anyways, this is Yoshimaru, Ever Faithful, the bestest of dogs. It's a 1/1 for 1 that grows with legendary permanents, ETB, under your control. It's just the art. Yeah, I just love this card. I'm not sure what to build from this guy. Maybe you would go with the Golgari one. Can't remember the name. That moves counters when it dies with partner. Yeah, there's a few decks you can build with this guy, but generally just a good dog. Next up is a spicy card. It's Vesuvan Duplimancy. Enchantment for 4, so pretty low curve for a spicy, swingy, fun enchantment. Usually you see this kind of effect at like 6 to 8. So what it does is it turns any single target spell into a clone effect. Like Orvar, like Ivy, Gleeful, something from Simic in the same set. And it's not... It goes around legendary rule as well, so this one has a lot going for it. This one I'm running in my Tatsunori Toad deck, and it is very spicy. With Mutate, again, you mutate something, you get a copy of it, and you get it on cost, so you do not get the mutated stack as a token. However, if you mutate again on the stack, you will get... Oh, it's super complicated. Don't run that deck. I run that deck. It's not... It's fun, okay? I'm gonna say it's fun. However, you need to be very aware of how confusing it can become to have a stack of copy clone token stacks of mutated creatures. Just print out some stuff, man. It's going to get rough. And don't run Ivy in that deck. I run Ivy in that deck as well, but I will never play those two at the same time because that will be a rule nightmare. And I don't wish that upon any judge at your local game stores. And you will not find Google will not help you. You will not find answers on Google on those stacks. So just be careful, guys. Next up we have Faldorn, Dread Wolf Herald. It's a 3-mana 3/3, so reasonably statted. Whenever you cast this card from exile, or spell from exile, or land, you will get a 2/2 wolf creature token. And you can tap one and him to discard a card, exile a top card, and you may play it this turn. So, like pseudo card advantage, and this guy, I have a friend who has a deck like this, or uses this as a commander, and it's pretty nutty. It's pretty nutty. Because it's not once, there's no clauses of once per turn, so just extra land drops, you're playing cards like maybe Light Up the Stage, Escape from the Wilds, Jeska's Will, Etali. You can play Cascade cards, you can play Outpost Siege, you can play, there's a card that didn't make the list, but that maybe should have made the list because this discard cost sort of thing has become super common, like Faithless Looting sort of effects, like looting effects. It's Containment Construct from Kamigawa, 2-mana 2/1, that whenever you discard a card you can exile it and play it this turn. So that's nice. Faldorn also synergizes well with Bone Crusher, like the Saga stuff, and Bridgie, and yes, there's so much stuff. Valakut Exploration, a card I really enjoy. That's super nice with this one. So yeah, this is a pretty powerful commander. He is currently number 240 and is priced around €0.50. So this guy is a beast. Next up we have more cards from I think my favorite round of precon EDH decks. My absolute, or the one I built was Kit Kanto. I'm not putting up her here because I don't think she is that interesting. I just like the overall deck more than I already had a Yund deck in my Yorlok deck, so I didn't want Yund, but the card I'm going to list here is Hensi Toolbox Torre. It's a Yund, black, red, green for a 3/3 that gives your creatures with mana value 4 or greater blitz, and it will reduce the cost of the blitz by 1 for each time you cast your commander from command zone. So a commander that you don't mind dying a few times and will allow you to play all the fun, dumb, big creatures in Yund, because when they die, they replace themselves with a card draw. So you discount the dumb creatures, you get to play the dumb creatures, they get haste, they get in, they do damage, and Colossal Dreadmaw or whatever, you can just play whatever you want, and this guy will enable it and make it a more functioning deck than most, I guess, non-combo decks would. So this one is a smash hit. I love the art, this sneaky devil rogue, cool creature type. Yeah, just fantastic card. Is currently sitting at top 100 in EDH Rec at number 74. So yeah, Copenna made a huge impact on the format. And you can get it for €0.50. So go ahead, pick this guy up. He is cool and fun. Next up we have Jax's the Troublemaker. A great, fun, mono-red commander if you want to have it as a commander. I think that this goes into a lot of decks. It's 4 mana 2/3 with blitz for 2. So you can blitz it in, it gains haste and dies at the end of turn. You can pay 1, tap, discard a card and create a token of another creature you control, and it gains haste, and when it dies you get to draw a card. So I think this one is just fun. It's just fun. You can just create a token of Gary and get some life. You can create a token of Atali to get some, haste. You can create a copy of basically anything fun, Scoot Swarm or whatever. This one is super fun. Also, it goes into the Torii deck or Toolbox deck. So yeah, I'd say this is a fun card. It's in 3% of decks, and it's number 526 as a commander and priced around 3 or 0.5 euros. So half a euro to get this girl, and I guess she is going to... I think she's going to go up in value because it's a bad Kikijiki, and Kikijiki is insane. So next up we have a super spicy guy. We have Isshin, 2 Heavens as 1 from Kamigawa in Mardu. He is top 10. He is number 10 in most used commanders, ran in 4% of decks, and is at about half a euro. And I will mention a few cards like I've been doing and I will keep doing because they are in so many decks. You have Sun Titan. Double Sun Titan is nice. He is in 16% of decks. It's just super nice to have, and this one scales with like Myriad. You have Itali. Itali is in 11% of decks. Also get double of those triggers. That's pretty spicy. And just there's just so much value from this guy, and also he is a finisher, because if you have something like I guess if you go like a dragon route with double strike, you can get some insane value from that as well. Speaking of finishers, we have next up a new Capenna card. It's Jetmir, Nexus of Rebels. At 4 mana, 5/4, he is reasonably statted. He is currently number 79 on EDH Rec at about 8% of decks run him at 2.5-ish euros. Yeah, this guy, again, I will mention a few cards that is used in so insanely many decks, and that, of course, in this aspect is Scooty Swarm. Just a few land drops later and you will have an army of Trample, Vigilance, Double Strike Scooties with 4 power. So, yeah, this guy, I'm running this in my Kit Kanto deck. Objectively better than Kit Kanto as a commander in that deck, but I think Jetmir as a character wouldn't want his paws dirty, so he sends out his minions to do the dirty work, and only when he gets serious he comes out and play. Cat Demon, art is fantastic. The alternative art is amazing, and this is a beast. Next up we have another new Capenna mythic in Raffine, Scheming Seer, the Obscura leader. It's currently number 94 on EDH Rec, ran in 2% of decks, and valued at around 4.5 euros. It's a 3 mana Esper flying Sphinx demon that has ward 1, and whenever it attacks, or whenever anyone attacks, creatures you control connives X, and X is the number of attacking creatures. So I really like that Esper got a Combat Matters commander, and it's a Sphinx as well. I'm pretty weak. I really like Sphinxes a lot. That's one of my favorite tribes. And 3 mana Sphinxes. this is probably the best Sphinx out of all the Sphinxes printed so far. It's it's a fun card. It's a nice 3-drop. I really like my 3-drops, and this one is for sure. Can block well early game as well, and grows, and has card selection on top of it. It's just, and you draw first and then discard, so you get the best kind of card selection. Next up we have a combo kitten in Displacer Kitten. It's 4 mana 2/2, Cat Beast, pretty cool art, demonic sort of cat thingy, and avoidance. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, exile up to one target non-land permanent you control, and then so basically flicker. It flickers whenever you cast a non-creature spell, and this one goes infinite with a bunch of stuff. And yeah, it's just a nasty card. On top of adding value, doubling, tripling, quadrupling up ETB effects, it also protects your stuff. So a cantrip like an Opt or Lightning Bolt or something like that will become a flicker on top of it and protect your commander or itself against interaction, or spot removal at least. And next up we have more treasure, more new Capenna, and a professional Facebreaker. 3 mana 2/3 with menace, so again a really nice 3-drop. And whenever one or more creatures you control combat damage your player, you get a treasure, sacrifice a treasure to exile the top card of your library, and you get to play it this turn. So card advantage, or maybe not yeah, I would say this is pretty much card advantage, because you don't get to draw the card, but you can it creates the treasures that you need to get to see more cards. So yeah, this one it's a beast. It's currently in 9% of decks, so treasure meta is here, and priced around €4. So yeah, this is a fantastic card in the treasure meta, and it's nice to see that they made some effort in creating answers to endless treasures. Although we kinda need some instant speed. I would like to see Wizards print 2 mana instant speed, destroy all artifacts CMC with 0 CMC, or 1 or less CMC. I guess that could be too busted. No, I think that would be fine. Either 0 or 1, or non-land artifacts at 0. I think that would be nice. And at number 1, I guess most would agree that this is one of the most important cards printed recently. With all the reanimating stuff, with all the recursion, Sun Titans and Animate Dead and all those sort of things, we needed reliable interaction that takes care of graveyards. And Farewell has done it. It's just a fantastic card. I really like Austere Command. I think this is objectively better, but I'd say I'd run both. I run both this in the Farewell and Austere Command. It's just the art as well. It's super nice. Again, rest in peace, Seb McKinnon, but this one is just the name and everything is just a smash hit. Like, this is my absolute favorite card, and it's not a fun card, but it's a useful, needed card. Currently number 13 on EDH Rec, so it hit home. Kamigawa was a fantastic set. I think I'm enjoying New Capenna a bit more than Kamigawa, but there's so many good cards in Capenna, and there's so many fantastic cards in Kamigawa as well, Neo Dynasty. Honorable mention here as well, I'm going to include all the channel lands. They would make the list if they would be more affordable. Like Boseiju is like €30, I think, and the other ones are like between 5 and 15, I guess, and it's a bit too expensive. But Farewell, I picked up a playset of foils early on, and those I will keep for a while. And that's about it, guys. So thank you for watching. This is my best, top, most fantastic cards of 2022 that I enjoy the most. There are, of course, a lot of cards I didn't mention, and the list isn't super strict. Like, the order isn't super irrelevant. It's just, for sure, Farewell is number 1, and Displacer Kitten is very high as well. But yeah, those are the cards I really enjoyed this year. Take care, guys. Much love.